First of all, the wiring harness has to be disassembled again. We need the one with the button for the brake pedal. It has to be attached to the back wall, which is really fiddly. I have to remove all the LEDs for the dashboard as well. God, that's annoying. Why just put that together in the previous construction phase just to take it apart now? That's exactly what I mean by unnecessarily stretched. It always feels like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Like here with the switch pods, which also have to be fully disassembled. Oh my, the wiring in the switch pods is super fiddly. After several attempts I fixated the cables with a drop of hot melt to keep them in place. This way it works out with the assembly. Various panels and covers are then mounted onto the dashboard. The tiny little controller here for KITT scanner is quite sweet. Then follows the steering column, which finally makes the whole thing look like this. Let's see how the substructure of the dashboard carries on. First of all, more cables have to be laid out on the firewall. These are secured using clamps. The kick panels are directly mounted to the underside of the dashboard. For the ambient LED, bend the legs carefully so you won't obstruct anything later on. Section 50 still belongs to the monthly series 47 to 50. Still, why are we now starting something new just in the middle of something? So I start building the center console. But I can't help the feeling for being a total fool here. Look at this. You just get 4 parts to put together. That's it. And now there's an implied 4 weeks waiting time. And after 4 weeks I would return to the center console. Now somebody tell me for serious that this bit of parts didn't fit into the same bag of the previous step. Anyways, the cover of the center console is not a big thing. And then the gear shifter quickly follows. However, I noticed that this one features a Firebird logo. This is not screen accurate because in the series, KITT just had a plain black knob without any logo. After all, the PRND gear indicator is correct. If only that were true for the key console. Although we're obviously building a Season 1 and 2 model, the key console we build here is a Season 3 and 4 console. But why, I wonder? Then there is the tan colored cover of this compartment. At least the center console looks very nice, even if it is not true to the original. Last but not least, there are 2 belt receivers. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just going to leave it because... And here comes the bottom plate. This brings only 1 single part to mount, and only now are the belt receivers mounted to the center console. As if it were totally impossible to take this step in the previous section already. And finally the console is mounted to the base plate. Hell yeah, this section was really worth it. And who thinks I'm exaggerating, take a look at what follows here. It's 7 parts that you almost have to look for with a microscope, plus a handful of screws. Basically, there are the 2 pedals which are screwed with a mounting frame onto the base plate. And here's then the rear belt receivers which are also mounted to the base plate. And yet again, we start something completely different out of the blue. Again 5 parts that are more or less just put together and then just left behind for another 4 weeks. Anything else coming in the build instructions? No, that's it.
And this concludes sections 47 to 54. It's half time, and for me, despite all love, I see first symptoms of fatigue and boredom. This is mainly because, in my opinion, the construction phases are too stretched. Today too, there's sections where it could have been done in one go. Despite that, today I took the time and I had almost 2 hours for doing the 8 sections. This was mostly due to the fumbly cabling in the early stages. After that, it was rather a quick experience. After all, I'm holding quite some stuff in my hands, and also the dashboard has made good progress. It, as well as the beginning of the passenger cell, looks quite nice, if we're ignoring some glitches.
First, have a look at the gas pedal. I think to see here some LED lights, which doesn't fit the Season 1 and 2 dashboard, as these had been only introduced from Season 3 onwards. The same goes for the lower console, which is a Season 3 and not a Season 1 and 2 console. At least the gear selector indicator is correct with 2 gears and 1 overdrive. It's a nice detail that the brake handle can be moved. Too pity this isn't the case with the gear shifter. And yet another minor detail, you can barely make it out, the Firebird logo, whereas the shifter as seen on TV was always painted black. And despite it being an error or not, as we never saw the factory equipped safety belts on KITT, but these belt receivers are lovely, don't you think?
Let me know in the comments if you saw something worthwhile mentioning. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for the next construction phases to arrive. Thanks for watching, take care and see you next time.